So extrude is our bread and butter command. If we can do it with extrude, and then we can do it with other features, we use those. If we can't use extrude for it, now we start looking for other options. So revolve is our first other option. So things like spheres. So a spherical piece, probably need to do a revolve on it. I can't extrude that. I gotta extrude a circle, and then I add a bunch of fillets to the top, and hopefully maybe get to it. But if I draw just half of a sphere and revolve it, now I got a whole thing. So that's a little easier option. Same thing with like a domed piece down here. So having a little domed edge surface, kind of where it bulges out, kind of like this, but instead of being straight, being round, right? Now I can do that with revolve. Or if it's some kind of a groove, I can draw that in and spin it around a round part. Also, depending on, and I didn't even include this in this one, because this is going to be part of another unit, some tapers. So depending on how tapers are done, we have different options how to do it. Because if I have a round thing, I give you a diameter and I give you the angle that it tapers, how can I do that?
Extrude.
I can extrude it, right, with a taper, and it's done. But if I give you the two different diameters and the height, now I probably should revolve it. Actually, I should probably add that in here. So some different options. And so kind of revolves the next option. And then if I need to go from one shape to another shape, then I could use Loft, which we'll go over next week. Or if it's not going to go straight in a straight line, needs to follow a weird path, now we can use Sweep. So those are kind of the other options after revolve, but kind of extrude first. Can't extrude, let's revolve it. And then if you can't extrude or revolve it, now we go to Sweep or Loft, which Emmanuel will talk about on Monday. Okay, and that'll give you kind of the basics of everything. And again, those are ones we use when we have to use them, but so if you don't need to use them, you don't use them. All right, so within this section, we're going to go ahead and go through these different things. And so I'm going to need a round something. Actually, I'm going to do a sphere first. So to do a sphere, I can't just draw a circle. If I draw a circle, it's not going to work, because I need to draw half of what the thing is, and it's going to spin it around a center axis. So I can't just draw a line down the middle and have it spin the whole thing both sides around. So I'm going to have to trim it. And look at that. Oh, it's all over the place, right? This is one of the times that sometimes it's not the best thing to just draw a circle and do that. But I'm just going to draw a line over here. Like I said, sometimes it's easier to draw off to the side and then move it where it needs to go. So I'm going to draw a line, and now I can draw a center from the midpoint out. And then I can just trim and click on the part I want to go away. So now I know for sure that circle is centered on the line. It's there. It's easier to do that than to draw the circle and then make the line centered on the circle. That doesn't work very well. But if you draw the line, draw the circle centered on the line, now it's easy. Now I can just grab this point, drag it down the origin, and there we go. And then I can dimension this. Oh, be it how big it is. Since it's an arc, what unit is it defaulting to?
Degrees.
Radius. Right? If I wanted to tell it a diameter, what would I do? Right click, tell it diameter. And now I can give it the whole diameter of the sphere. Okay? So I can just click that in, say I want it to be 1.5. And so I've now got half of a circle. Ta-da. So I can just finish it, and I can tell it to revolve. And it wants to know what to revolve around. So what do I need to revolve around?
That line.
That line, right? So for the axis, I'm going to pick that line. And it does it. If I had gone into my sketch, this other option here is Centerline. So if I pick on that, this line turns into a center line. So now when I pick revolve, it automatically picks it.
That's
which way to go, it doesn't matter for that. We still get the same thing. What if I want a flat spot on the bottom of this circle? I want it to be a sphere on top, but I want like a flat bottom on it.
Revolve, but not somehow.
I mean, I could always,
Add another
if I
rectangle.
change the degrees of it, I'm gonna get like a pie shaped thing. That's not, but I want it to be full circle. I just want the bottom to be flat.
Edit the sketch. Just draw a line.
Yeah, just draw a line right here. Boom.
Right.
If I just draw a line right there, and then just trim off the bottom piece of it, and then I can just dimension this to be whatever I want. So if I dimension maybe from here to here, I can tell it how far away from the center I want that edge to be. Or if I know I want the diameter of that flat spot to be a certain thing, I can dimension. Look at this. If I pick this center line and I pick this point, it gives me the diameter. So that's the other trick of that center line, is if you use a center line, it gives you twice that distance for you to put in. So I can click this here and I can say, I want that to be 1 inch diameter on that flat spot. So it goes ½ inch on each side, even without having that other side drawn.
Because Centerline imagines that it's flipping.
Yeah.
It does move up and down.
Yeah. And it automatically positions it there because it has to be at that one spot to be that size. So now I can hit finish, hit revolve. Because I already had a center line, it knows where my axis is, and it's done. So there's my thing. Piece of cake, right? So from now I can extrude and, you know, make that 1 inch cylinder coming down from this thing. Also, you see that? I could just extrude a whole face. I don't have to even have a sketch. If I want the whole face to be my extrude, I can do that. I can do it like this. Don't just do that though to add a little extra space or cut a little bit off, right? In that case, it's better just to edit the original extrude, right? But if, in this case of going from one shape to another shape, I just want to make that circle go out, yeah, I can extrude it. I mean, that's easy. So that's doing a sphere. You need a sphere, that's the way to do it. You could also make a full sphere and then draw a cylinder coming out of the middle of it, or whatever. Another thing is having either a domed piece or a cupped piece. So on the drawing, on the exercise, I don't have you to do a cup piece, but I'm just gonna do a domed piece. So I'm just gonna have this come out 1 inch. And I wanna put just a little dome on this. I don't want it to be full tangent, so it's not going to be like a hemisphere on it on the bottom. But I don't want it to just be flat like this. I want it to be a nice little domed piece there, but it's not tangent. So if I try and do fillets on it, it's going to be tangent, right? I don't want it tangent. I want it to be something like, you know, whatever. I want to be like that. Yeah, come on. Come on. I'm trying to use new tools. So I want it to just go up like that. Be all around. So where can I draw? Can I draw right here? On the outside of this?
Ending face.
Can I sketch right there?
No.
No. Like where, if I do here, it's going to pick one of those planes in the middle. Where you can only sketch on flat things. So which one should I pick?
Top.
Here?
Yeah.
I want it to be domed. I want it to come up in that direction, right? Can I sketch up this way on that bottom, if I'm sketching on the end of that? Just look at it. I want it to go like this.
Yeah, okay, yeah, but you're saying, so no, that would not work.
So look at my mouse. My mouse is there. It's wanting to sketch on that plane, right? Either that plane or that plane. It's the same thing. If I'm going all the way around, it doesn't matter. But I'm just going to pick that one just to be. How do I get... Oh, I haven't talked about this yet. So if I had something else that was further behind, actually I could use the same command. this edge isn't on my sketch plane, right?
Correct.
What command do I use to make that edge come to my sketch plane?
Project.
Project. So I pick on it, hit P, boom, got it. Right here, if I wanted this line here, not for this one, but if I wanted this line here, can I project it? So if I do P,
Yeah.
it does the top and bottom, but not this edge here. Anything? Oh, you guys see that?
Intersect.
Intersect. So I want the intersection of this surface and my sketch plane.
That makes sense.
So anytime you're sketching on a plane in the middle of the part, which if you're doing round stuff, you end up doing a line. You want to project if you're working on the end of it. You want to use intersect if you're working on the side of the cylinder. And that even also works if you've got like an angled plane going through where you're sketching and you want to see where that plane hits your sketch plane, you can use intersect for that also. But for this case, all I care about is that one. And so now I'm just going to draw a line from there, from the midpoint up a little bit. Then I'm going to create an arc from that point to that point and just come up somewhere. So you can see, come on, as I move this around, my arc changes. You can see the little white dot right there? You guys see it? What's that white dot?
Center of the circle.
That's the center of my circle. So if the white dot's over here, what's going to happen if I revolve this?
It's gonna be a line.
I'm going to get like a little divot right there in the middle, right? It's going to come down and hit a little point downwards. If I raise that up and I go here, what's going to happen in there? What happens there in the center? There's going to be a point. What if I want it smooth? I want it tangent. It needs to be in the middle. How do I make it in the middle?
Linear.
I want it right there, right?
Linear that.
How can I make that there? Collinear needs what?
All along the same line.
No. Collinear means two lines lined up with each other.
Right.
Is that two lines?
Oh wait, no. I said coincident. That's
Coincident. All right, coincident. The line and my center point. Boom. And now it's always going to be tangent there, so I'm not going to have a nice smooth dome on it. Sometimes that's what we want. Sometimes we do want a point. Very rarely do you want the divot. So usually you want it either tangent or pointed. So usually the tangent is the preferred thing. So we do that, and now I can dimension several different ways. I can dimension the radius here, right? Or I could dimension the height there. Either one of those. I can't do both because one controls the other. So I could say that I want it to stick out 0.06. Or I could tell it that I want a radius of 1 inch. Either way. Depends on what's important. Hit finish. Hit revolve. Oh, I didn't make that a center line, so now I can just pick that center axis and it spins around. And there we go. Okay? Makes sense? So I could also do the other way to make a cup. Just go downwards. In that case, it doesn't have to go to the edge. It could be inside. Even this one could be inside. It doesn't have to go to the edge. It could be in here. Whatever, right?
Can you still dimension it right there and then the dome change that center?
No. Because it's either this or that.
That's why. Can you raise it up?
Yeah, so if I change that to a smaller radius, it's going to make it go up more. And so if I make it the same radius as the thing, now it's a full hemisphere. Oops. I can't make it smaller though, because then like if I try and do 0.375, it's not going to work because it can't get smaller than that. There's a limit for where it is. If this point wasn't touching here, if I take that off and make it coincident there to there, and now maybe I do make that a center line, and now I can dimension, maybe I'll make it, I want that to be up 0.12, and I do want this to be 0.375. Now it's going to adjust that. And And now when I revolve it, it's going to go there. So it doesn't have to be all the way to the edge. It could be inset or whatever. Okay? Does that make sense? So that's when we have to use Revolve for. There's no other way to do it. What's the next one? Oh, grooves. So groove around the outside of it. So I kind of mentioned this earlier. So sketch, halfway through. How do I get this edge to show up my sketch? Intersect. Create, project, include, intersect. Pick on it. And it does both sides. You can leave both sides. I prefer to get rid of the one I'm not using. Just click on it and hit delete. Take away the thing I don't want. Now I have this here, and now I could draw a circle here and dimension it. Whether it's centered on the edge or the center's out from the edge, whatever, I could do that. Or it could be an angled groove, like a V groove or whatever. That, make them equal. And then I can add whatever dimension I want. And I can tell it the depth that I want. And then here I can tell it diameter, spacing from there to there. Spacing down, right? So should I do both? If I was doing this and doing both these on my part, should I do them at the same time?
No.
No, because what happens if I want to keep one, I don't want the other one, right? I'd rather just be able to turn a feature on and off rather than go back and edit the sketch each time. Because you know what, I could actually have the same part. One version has this kind of a groove, and one version has that kind of a groove. I make one part file, I just turn those features on and off. Ta-da, now I've got two parts, one file. Makes it easy. I need to change every other dimension, I just change it one time, it affects both of them. Right? So I can do that. Okay? Then I just revolve it, ta-da. The revolve command is pretty easy, just spin it. So what are you spinning? Okay, does that make sense? What's another kind of a grooved thing that's a lot of time on shafts and things? Not threads. Threads aren't, for threads we use the thread command. No. That wouldn't be, spiral wouldn't be revolved anyway. So here's some other things. So rounded grooves, do it like this, right? Draw a circle, revolve it around. Things like that. You also see reliefs like that, where, come on, show it. Of course, trying to, an example, and actually, here was kind of one. So right here, there's a groove, but it's got square corners in it. See that? It's got square corners in that groove. Should I revolve that? Is that a good candidate for revolve? It could be. And I always used to use Revolve for this until last year. So that's one I could revolve. So I could go in, let me delete this, create a rectangle here. Also, if I hit slice, it kind of cuts in halfway through the part. Sometimes that's easier. Sometimes it's actually a little harder to see, right? Because at least on this one, I can see the blue line on the gray. When I do that, it kind of gives me all the red stuff. So, and I could do this little rectangle here, dimension it, and revolve it. So I could dimension from here to here. I could dimension like that, finish it, and revolve it around like that. It works. And that's the way I did it for like 20 years. So it's an effective way. I can also, what I realized last year, if I just create a sketch here, and I can either, if I want the distance between here, that offset distance, I can just offset this face and just bring it in. 0.09. I can just offset that. Or if I want the diameter, I can just dimension, you know, I can just draw it in dimension, whatever I wanted. And I can go to extrude. Remember, extrude's first choice. Remember some of my options for extrude?
Start.
I can change my start place. I don't have to start where I sketched it. I can start with an offset and tell it to offset down 1 inch or 3/4 of an inch. And I can tell the distance I want to extrude to be -1/4. Come on, where are you? Oh, -0.75. Did I miss those? Right? So I can just tell it to go there. So instead of having to draw a rectangle, do a sketch in the middle, do an intersection, draw a rectangle, dimension the rectangle, and then revolve, I can just draw a circle and dimension it with my offsets here. Which way? Sure. Either way works. I'm starting to do it this way now. Just because it kind of keeps it a little bit easier. But if you do it as a revolve, am I going to be mad? No. But it's just another option. Okay? And it also depends on kind of what it's called, what the dimensions are from and everything. But I'm trying to show you some different options on how to do things. And this is one that has been there, I think. Just I never did it this way. Yeah.
Did you do multiple extrudes from that one circle that you drew?
No, I just did one.
Okay.
I had done this one as a revolve. No.
Okay.
I mean,
What if they wanted another ring like that?
then I could do a pattern of it. So either one, I would just do a pattern of whatever. So it gives me the same thing, just two different ways to do it. They're both okay. I'm not super mad about either one. But I think that doing the extrude is easier. Because now I'm drawing a circle. Circles are easier to draw than rectangles. Especially after I don't have to do an intersection or any of that stuff. So, but I do have to know what values I'm putting in for the offsets. So that's a little bit more attention you have to pay to, or something you have to pay more attention to. So either way, they're both there. Okay? Any questions on any of that? Yes. Okay.